even before they were elected.
You have adopted the badass label.
These freshman Congresswomen created their own group, the Badasses.
We were out running for Congress, across the country, and we kept running into each other. Badasses kind of came organically from the group, since we all had either served in the military or in the CIA.
We have a lot in common. We all were working to flip seats, to be elected in places where voters may not typically vote for people like us or with our backgrounds.
Navy veterans Mikey Sherrill and Elaine Luria, Air Force veteran Chrissy Houlihan, ex-CIA officers Alyssa Slotkin and Abigail Spanberger. A band of sisters who bonded while storming the unfamiliar terrain of politics.
Being able to text folks and say, I'm really getting hit up on this issue. How have you been handling it? I'm not sure how to translate my service into something that's relatable. How do you guys do that?
Translating their service is exactly what they did with their 180 on starting an impeachment inquiry. Going from no to yes after hearing President Trump admit he spoke to Ukraine's leader about Joe Biden. Others followed suit, including the House Speaker.
The specter of having the sitting president of the United States use leverage over a foreign leader to get dirt on an opponent. Like that very basic idea, I think, cut for us as national security people just close to the bone on, sort of our democratic institutions.
They penned an op-ed along with two freshman male veterans.
It was a great example of the power of teamwork and the power of kind of putting country above
Was
party.
it all for one and one for all?
Oh, absolutely.
I think we all sort of came to that conclusion together. We text each other, and I think we were all going, okay, I think this is all changed. This is a bright line.
Backing an impeachment inquiry is risky political business for these Congresswomen, already some of the most vulnerable in the House, Democrats who won in mostly Trump territory.
I believe that if I am out there explaining what these allegations are and why they are so deeply concerning, that people will understand why we had to take a stand.
All of us in our prior lives, all the time, had to make hard calls for the reasons we thought were right when we knew that not everyone would understand or even know. And that, to me, is something I feel comfortable doing because I've always had to do it.
Even so, this is a group still trying to find their sea legs in politics.
I'm supervising the operation of nuclear reactors. I never turned to the reactor operator and said, are you a Democrat, are you a Republican? It was new to jump into such a partisan environment.
These women brought change when they walked in the door, especially to this particular committee room where 4 of the women serve.
We're sitting here surrounded by portraits of chairmen of this Armed Services Committee.
And it's likely that many of the men who surround us did not serve in that capacity. You were on ships, I was an engineer, you were a pilot. We were all, kind of experiencing our service in different ways.
I did 3 tours in Iraq alongside the military as a CIA officer, carrying a weapon and wearing my body armor. And I think there's something about having done prior service that connects you to the consequences of the decisions that are being made here and at the White House.
They represent swing districts, very different from another more famous female freshman group, the Squad.
Okay, so I'm just gonna put it out there. The group of freshman females that people know about is the Squad. Are you guys the anti-Squad?
What I tell people in my district, the left wing of our party has created such momentum behind things like moving forward on our environment.
None of us is ever going to get in a Twitter war with anyone else. If we have a concern with someone, we're going to go right up and talk to them about it. And we're not going to add unhelpful rhetoric to an already bad tone coming out of Washington.
Is there frustration that the Squad and the Twitter wars get headlines?
I don't care who has the headlines. I care about the legislation that we prioritize. I don't think any of us want to be the loudest voice in the room. I just want to be one of the most effective.
I'm down this nook, and then Mikey's just down there.
They picked offices near one another, which they say makes it easier to work together.
We wanted to be able to know that, I could swing by.
We have definitely sat around in this office. I've brought some Michigan beer into New Jersey. It's just a place for us to sit on each other's couch and just relax.
bonding not just over their jobs, but family.
I have 3 daughters. They are now 5, 8, and 11. My middle daughter wants to be Chrissy Houlihan for Halloween.
Is that right?
100%.
It's going to be hard to pull off. I'm not sure how she's going to do it.
Somebody said to me the other day, they said, well, you're just real down to earth. You're not, you're pretty humble. And I said, yeah, I have a 14-year-old daughter. I mean, it's really hard not to be.
When Slotkin started running for Congress, people were surprised that her husband played an active role.
In the beginning of the campaign, a lot of people would say, you guys are so modern. And, it's so interesting. And I said, what does that mean? They were used to either a man running for office, or there is a strong woman, but their husband is nowhere to be seen. So when they saw a strong woman and a strong man together, that was new for them.
Their previous service taught them to be fearless, which comes in handy now.
There's not a vertical chain of command structure, so at previous...
Well, there is, but obviously it sounds like you guys aren't following it.
No, but no one can fire us. I mean, except the people that elected us.
None of us came to Congress from a district that wants us to just sit here and be quiet and learn the ropes. They want us to engage, and they want change, and they want it now.
It's been pointed out, Sabrina, that Nixon had a much better legal apparatus to defend him, and Bill Clinton did as well during their impeachments, than President Trump has. But President Trump has something that Nixon did not have. He has Fox News. He is an army of trolls. He has websites that will defend anything he says or does. And that could very well come into play. They are already coming to his defense.
And you already see the president and his allies taking a page from the Russia playbook, where they're trying to frame this as another witch hunt. You see some of them pushing conspiracy theories and trying to refocus the attention on Joe Biden, even though there is no evidence to suggest wrongdoing on the part of former Vice President Biden. I think that's the key here for the president, is whether or not he's able to once again try and frame this in sharply partisan terms. And it'll be very important for Democrats in their messaging to not focus so much on impeachment, but I think to continue and put this under this umbrella of corruption, which is the way that they've tried to frame their message on the campaign trail. I had a Democratic strategist tell me that Democrats shouldn't be celebrating impeachment. They should make the case to the public that it's actually a tragedy to impeach an American president, but this is the responsibility that they hold as the oversight branch of the U.S. government.
Congratulations on the tour so far, Your Royal Highnesses. What's the message you're trying to get across today here at the beach?
I think what's so amazing about being here today is you can see there's so much good happening in the world, and there's so much positivity and all this diversity and inclusivity. I think the focus is on that, which is why it's so great that you're here today. It just highlights that, yes, there's a lot of attention on things that could be a bit troubling in the world, but this is actually what's making a difference and what matters.
No, exactly. I couldn't echo exactly what Megan said. I think what these kids are doing, and actually the coaches are the main thing, because they've had this quite unique experience. I say unique, it's not as unique as you would think, because so many of these communities have been through very similar traumatic experience, but they've now come into a place like this, into this charity, to be able to not only share their experiences, but to be able to help the younger generation. So you're talking about a whole generation of kids that have basically had no role models at all. Yeah. And that generation now coming and going, you know what, you didn't have those opportunities, we're now going to give you that opportunity.